Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? This is making me think of one scene, and I'm going to bring it up. And we're back! Hello, everybody. We are now putting Chief Gant on trial. We're getting right to the end of this. This is going to be really tough. We're finally going against the chief himself, because he's still very suspicious. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in that room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say. He got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Also, if they got to the elevator, couldn't you see, like, the lit up arrow if it's up or down? How many elevators were there? Was it just the one elevator? Or was there another elevator that they could take? If they went to the elevator, or elevators, and they saw that one was already busy, they should see which arrow lights up or down. I don't know, maybe I'm getting too much into elevator physics. Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, wait a minute. No, this isn't the same elevator accident or whatever. No, it's definitely not the same incident as Miles' father being killed. Definitely not the same, is it? Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. It did seem pretty suspicious. It did seem pretty suspicious that there were two bodies just right on top of each other. Yeah, that definitely looks like Lana Skye's office, doesn't it? Based on the layout that I remember. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body, it had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk? That's right. That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. That is very suspicious indeed. Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable, no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better be staring up at the court record. Or, you know, at my handsome face. Just look at my hair. He's got that 90s boy band hairstyle, though, doesn't he? You'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Okay. So what do we have? Halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. So was this taken... When exactly was this picture taken? Was this taken before they were questioning Dark? Because when did that portion of the shield get removed? We slipped off that power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. They had already arranged the crime scene. I had nothing to do with this forgery. But perhaps you did, actually. We still haven't used this parking stub, have we? Allegedly dancing in the evidence room at the time of the murder at the police department. So whose bloody hand was that? Oh, hi. Hi, kitty. Are you hanging out with me? I don't know what she's doing. Goodman's autopsy report. So this is having to do with the thing that happened 2 years ago. We're not going to present anything that's for the current case because it's not relevant right now. There's a kitty right here. Hi, kitty. There you go. Hang out over there, okay? Very cute. ID card record. IDs of all who entered the evidence room. I feel like this isn't relevant just yet. But also, what the hell was this for? Evidence from a past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. Yeah, so Edgeworth took this out of the evidence room to bring it back to Edgeworth's office at the prosecutor's office, basically. Goodman's lost item report. Scene of the stabbing as a detective. Extremely thin rubber glove. I feel like all of this evidence has to be presented at some point, right? So I'm thinking of presenting this because this was in his safe. So why was this in your safe, good sir? I think I'm gonna save and then I'm gonna present this and see what happens. Shay? Please stop coming up here. I can't see the game. All right, let's present this. There's too many pages. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Ho! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who? Me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know? Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. He'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put 2 and 2 together. At least this judge doesn't, because he's kind of dumb. Evidence and forgery. Let's see now. What was it now? A jar fragment? And a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Ooh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Udgy. And return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? Evidence and forgery. We're gonna save over this one instead. So let me take a look at this. Does it say that we have to... Do both of these rules have to come into play at the same time, or can we do just one rule at a time? Unregistered evidence must be relevant to the case on trial. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints were found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, then they were proof his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right? The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however, clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Good point. Ho, ho, ho! Oh, that's a good one. Oh, the music is playing again. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit a forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Would there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright? It appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped to forge evidence? You believed Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence. The victim, obviously. Why would Bruce Goodman die? See, the thing is, right, Goodman was never demoted. Everyone else involved in this case was demoted or fired or whatever, but Bruce Goodman was the only one who stayed a detective or investigator or whatever. And then when all of this goes down, he's the one who ends up dead.
Take that!
Righto, my boy. The look on your face is almost enough to motivate even me to help you out. What? I hope you understand it's not a compliment. Chief Gant would have wanted something in return. He must have wanted to be able to blackmail the person he helped. Oh. Obviously. Defendant and Chief Prosecutor for the District at hand, wounded on her right hand.
Take that!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? This is making me think of one scene, and I'm going to bring it up. Basically, Lord Helmet is playing with dolls right now.
Your helmet is so big.
Lord Helmet, what? You need it on the bridge, sir.
Knock on my door! Knock next time!
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything?
No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again.
Good!
I love that scene. He plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this, that I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Bro, this judge is so dumb. We're talking about right now, with the murder that happened 3 days ago. Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? Order, order, order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder. That is impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in an easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. I think 7777 comes into play. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. It's gotta be this. This is an ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on this list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 77777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Look at him, he's sweating! He's sweating! We've got him cornered. Order, order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand that Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Let me check something. Yeah, so Edgeworth was in there. So 20 minutes. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. I think it has to be the tape, right? The victim went to meet Chief Gettin on the day of the crime. It's on the tape. And the thing is, right, the light was already lit up. We presented this before. But again, we know that he was in there. Oh, no, this! It's this! We have to present this. Now, this is... I'm glad I went over the evidence again. It has to be this, right? Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you're in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. We got him, boys. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. You could have lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Oh my god! And he's sweating and basically shocked. He looked like he was being electrified. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know? And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. It's getting good. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. He can present his badge. Is now the time to present the parking stub? We used Edgeworth's car, obviously. This ought to be interesting. Is this going to work? This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know. Oh, that's what it is. Hold on. So Gant requested that Edgeworth take the screwdriver back to his office so that Edgeworth had a reason to get into his car and drive back to the prosecutor's office to move the screwdriver piece of evidence. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me, why? It's the screwdriver. Ah! I was asked to go, by Chief Gant no less. He told me they wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. I'm figuring it out. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked for Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back on the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Wright-ho, but I'm having a lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That's not a right to be casually invoked. He's pleading the fifth. That means he's guilty. There were certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do we have any concrete proof? Let's check what we have. If I say I have no proof yet... The thing is, I don't have... Like, this is all circumstantial evidence or whatever, right? I don't have hard proof that this was an arrangement. This is all hearsay. So I'm curious to see what would happen if I say I have no proof yet. Maybe Lana's gonna be like, no, I admit it. This was set up. This might be wrong? And it'd be like, okay, you lose the case then. And if not, then I can go present evidence, because I have a few ideas on what I can present right now. But I want to see what this says. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. See, Udgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you. This ought to be interesting. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Objection! Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth? What do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. See, this is what I was thinking. I don't have concrete proof. I have a couple of things that I could maybe present. But I'd be curious to see where it would go from there. Is this supposed to happen? I feel like this is supposed to happen, right? But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Shall we? Because she's not a witness. But she sure is. Because we haven't heard her testimony. She admits to the crime, but she was told to do so. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in... Hold on! Huh? Chief Gant! I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Ah, this isn't good. Call forth Mia. I wish we could. We all miss those certain aspects that she brings to the table. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. He's scary. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. February 25th, 2:04 p.m. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah. Thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else. Eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Ha ha ha! I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Ah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. What? My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How as he always gets the upper hand. It's not fair that he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma! Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on? Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny, I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. You didn't murder him. You didn't do it on purpose. That's not murder. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. What? I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. To be continued. Oh my god. It's continuing all the time, isn't it? Save your progress up to this point. Oh, we gotta keep going on this, don't we? This is too good? Alright. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a very, very tiny break. I'll be right back. Enjoy these clips. See you soon. Thanks for watching so far. We're going to finish this case today. We're gonna do it.